Oh, you've written a book. What's it all about?
Sex,
And love,
high adventure,
adventure around the world,
gods and goddesses,
Tantra,
heavy breathing.
that's pranayama.
There's art
There's the agonies,
and the ecstasy.
transformation.
That's it.
That's her book.
Everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants to love. But so often, relationship is not our happy playground. It is the field hospital of a battle or a lonely place of exile. What stops us from loving freely? Why are relationships so stifling, so difficult? How can we free ourselves from our sexual shadows? What started the war between the sexes? How has our history brought us into a culture of domination, one of power over instead of power with? Why are the masculine and the feminine in conflict, even within ourselves? Our right to independence becomes controlling. Our sharing leads to losing our identities. How can we each be balanced individuals so we can have partners that support our blossoming as whole people? We set out to answer those questions.
It became a grand adventure that took us around the world over the course of a decade. And it all started while we were living on a Caribbean island.
We were living the Caribbean beach life, living by the sea, going with the flow. Our life was just fine, and then we began allowing archetypal energies to act through us. We started asking questions. What is the masculine? What is the feminine? How do these archetypes play out within us and when they meet in sexuality? Our pursuit of those questions changed everything for us. Even while we lived in a paradise, we recognized that the current paradigm is not working. Wars, inequality, environmental crisis, all based on our dysfunctional relationships.
Because of the sexual nature of our art, we received a lot of judgment about being a center lover. We became pariahs in our own town. So we decided to take being a center lover to Europe, a more open and progressive place. But we didn't have the money to just up and move to Europe. But if we sold everything, we could. So we sold the house, the cars, the property. We closed our studios and we moved to Tuscany.
Italy, where Venus and Mars, our protagonists, had been real and active. We had access to museums where we could see how Western civilization, the Greeks, the Romans, and Renaissance artists, for example, had interpreted the goddess and the god. We could feel the power of myth, the stories we've been telling ourselves, the stories we believe. The realm of air, the intellectual realm of ideas. Italy inspired James to paint like crazy and me to write about everything I was learning.
Then we felt the pull to the other side of the world and decided to move to the Hawaiian Islands. I think the goddess Pele, who's an earth goddess, goddess of the volcano, goddess of fire, I think she was saying to us, you're not going to write about sexuality and creation without going through my school. So we moved to Hawaii and submitted to her teachings.
Goddess Pele really turned the heat up. We suffered crisis in our relationship. We ran out of money. James had health problems. Sure, we were experiencing personal growth, but how could we get through it together? How could we grow in intimacy under such big stress? As difficult as it was also beautiful. And swimming with dolphins, which we did regularly, was very healing. The raw earth energy of Hawaii really worked us over, and when we had completed Pele's course, she let us go.
Then we felt called to the American Southwest, but where? We didn't know, so we just drove around the Southwest. And the moment that we saw Taos, New Mexico, we knew we were home.
We lived right next to Taos Pueblo, where the Taos Pueblo Indians have lived for centuries. There we experienced firsthand the Native American worldview and Mother Earth, the predominant archetype in all world mythologies. James was so inspired in that art town that he completed the last of the Venus and her lover paintings. He finished the 64th painting in New Mexico. We were very happy in that community, and then, just like all the times before, parts of our life there just started coming to an end. We knew Venus and her lover was pushing us to the next phase, the final place, the fifth element.
We always knew that we would end up in India. It is, after all, the birthplace of a major tradition of Tantra. India was a pilgrimage that we had to make.
At the temples of Khajuraho, we got to feel what life must have been like during the golden age of India, the age when Tantra was the prevailing philosophy. Tantra, a spiritual path, a non-dual view of life that endeavors to understand the polarities, like the masculine and feminine, and create the space where the dualities can join in union. There, the divine feminine is worshipped as Shakti, and the divine masculine as Shiva. And yet, the cultural status of women did not reflect this balance. How could that be? Our life in India was an exercise in reconciling paradoxes. The conclusions we reached about our history and our future as women and men and as a human species shattered our previous concepts. The process of co-creating our art transformed and liberated us.
I saluto tutte le persone. A big hug to everybody from Rocco, Florence, Italy.